So last time we actually, both on stream and a little bit after stream, finally got scones to build. And in fact, I added a bunch of extra steps to check each library one by one to make sure it's there. Went and hunted down all of the subdependencies that were needed. I'm still of two minds as to whether or not this is something I could make automatic or more dynamic, because I definitely had to by hand go find all these libraries and get them all available. There is probably a way, and I prototyped some code for passing in a library like Tesseract and then having it find all of its dependencies and its dependencies all the way down and bring them all in. I wrote a naive version of that code and ran it, and it ended up in an infinite recursive max depth error. So yeah, there might be something simple that I'm missing there. I'm not going to worry about it for the moment since I got everything working. In some ways, it is nice since there aren't too many libraries to have this documented, to know in my build process that these are the libraries I need, and as long as they're available, everything is good. So for now, I'll leave this as is, but the build works and it builds correctly. I've even been able to do things like change this code here and watch that if I, change this from API to AP, I get the nice editor errors with the auto-completion there, with all the power of that. But then also, if I were to go build this right now, I would get an error about it as well. So both the editor and scones will both yell at me for coding mistakes, which means on the face of it, this code is good. I did follow an example online to see what does this look like. The one difference being is that this string type is a Godot string type, and I need to convert that to pass it into Tesseract. And I think this might give me what I need, but the only way to know is to call it. And so we're on to the step of calling it from Godot. And that takes us to our next error. So we have a properly built library, but Godot hates it. And the reason Godot hates it, so I can import it here. The reason Godot hates it is because we're missing those DLLs. So I believe what this means is that wherever I have this stored locally, and I think with the bin directory and everything, I had told scones where to find these libraries, and so scones pulled them in. But I think now I either need to tell Godot where to find them as well, so added some sort of path information to go find them, or I need to copy and paste all those DLLs into a convenient place within the project so that they're always there. And I'm of two minds about that too, because on the one hand, it could be as simple a fix as here's the path, here's where the libraries would be, go find them, and it'll go pick them all up itself. The only issue then is what happens if, my local machine, I end up blowing something away. They're not in source control, those DLLs. And so I could end up rebuilding, reinstalling any number of these libraries, and all of a sudden everything breaks. So ideally, we would commit this to the repo, and then I'd have that version control. So at least I would know that, okay, maybe in the future I rebuild this project at some point, re-import those libraries, reinstall those libraries, and they all break. But at least if I roll back to a previous version of the app, a previous version of my code, everything would work because that library is frozen in time. All those library dependencies are frozen in time, and so they would actually work as at that point. And then I can worry about any debug issues from there. Now the other piece would be .dll versus .lib. I wonder if I go with a .lib, the difference between DLL and lib, as I understand it, is without the DLLs, nothing will work. And so you need the .lib. So that just means that everything, I could fix this, but to fix this, I gotta go bring in all those DLLs. Instead, let me see here if the file directory shows this. No, that's the bin directory there. Source. Okay, so it's hiding all that information for me. If I go into VS Code and I go look here, you know, I've got a bunch of DLLs there. So I believe it's finding all these. I think it's finding them all just fine. But it's the dependency ones, the ones for the other libraries. So the issue with this is, for this to work, it has to always find the DLLs, and because of these other dependencies I'm bringing in, that means I also need all the DLLs for those. Whereas, you know, for instance, and these are like sub dependencies. So like, you know, these crypto dependencies down here, they were actually a part of, I don't know if it was like B2 or, you know, archive, or I don't know. They're a sub-dependency. They're not actually something I care about. And in fact, a lot of these all come from TIFF. The TIFF library had a bunch of dependencies on some things. And TIFF, JPEG, PNG, all these, they either came from Tesseract or Leptonica. So in theory, if I can just pull in the .lib dependency for something like Leptonica, I wouldn't need all these because that lib, that library, would have all these baked in with them. But because I'm going off the DLLs, then that means I kind of need to have those DLLs physically there. There are trade-offs to one versus the other. But right now, I guess the question is, what would happen? Can I go find those lib files, and do they exist, and can I use them? So let's go take a poke around and see what we come up with. So this is Leptonica. If I do LDD on /c, oh sorry, MSys, Ming 64, bin lib tests. Okay. So we do have Tesseract 5.5 there. What if I did star test star? No, that's not going to find anything. I could do ls on MSys Ming 64 bin, and then I can do pipe grep test combine test data.exe tesseract.exe. So that's all in the bin directory. I wonder if I can see everything that I have available. So let's go shell script ls recursive. Recursive full path. I guess it's probably the find command is what they're going to say. Right. So, all right, let's go find /c MSys Ming dash name, and that should be star test star. That should work. Nice. Let me fix my microphone for a second. All right, so there's Tesseract DLL, like I had found before in the bin directory. We have the include directory, which includes a bunch of Tesseract stuff, I think. In fact, that might even be the .h files and things, which I do need those for Tesseract and probably Leptonica. I might not need those .h files for anything below those. I might not even need it for Leptonica, although I think I do. Let's zoom in a little bit. Make it easier to read. I believe this shows up fine on stream, but maybe it doesn't. So there's our include, and then we have tesseract. Right. So that would be the .h files. And then under lib, interesting. So I think lib might be the place we need to look for these things if memory serves me. My C++ memory is a little fuzzy. It's been a long time. That's just CMake stuff. Not surprised. C++ dot A versus dot D L dot A. What are the differences between those? Not telling me anything. Dot .a file. Okay, well this will tell me at least something different. .o files are objects. They are the output of the compiler and input to the linker librarian. .a files are archives. They are groups of objects or static libraries and are also input into the linker. Additional context. Using a makefile to generate static libraries. So this will compile those two .c files into objects and then archive them into library. Depending on the platform, you may also need to run a utility called randlib. .a files are technically archive files and not libraries. They are analogous to zip files without compression, though they use a much older file format. Table of contents generated by utilities like randlib. Okay, fine. So maybe it might be libtesseract.a is the thing I need. We have test data, we have the license, package config, so that's the .pc. Okay, so I wonder now if I go and disable all my old logic. Let's shrink this a little bit. And rebuild. Wonder what's going to happen here. I'm so used to Vim. My key bindings are not here. Command, not command. That's OSX. So I want all these. All those down there, and this is the auto import thing that I tried. So a lot of this is the boilerplate that I already pulled in from the Godot docs. Godot CPP. Now I wonder, I guess what's going to happen when this builds. This might work, right? I can't recall. Let's find out. Oh, but well, it cached them, so not really what I wanted. Okay, fine. I'm afraid to do it, but I probably should just delete all this. So maybe I'll do... Let's do make dir tesseract lib backup. Okay, and then we're going to move source and then we'll also move Leptonica here. Yeah. Okay. So those are gone. Now what happens if I run it? Don't want any of those. Let's pull these over into the margin. That way I can easily flip back and forth. Oh, there we go. Finally got an error. Undefined reference. So we ran, we built. It skipped cache for whatever reason. OCR CPP, and then we're trying to find tesseract. Great. So now, in fact, let's just not even do that. Command button again. Let's just add tesseract and see what it's going to do. Did I clear it? I didn't. Let me clear. And actually I need to test my audio, so let me pause for a moment and make sure that everything's working in my head. While that runs, let me take a quick break. There we are. Okay, so my audio was working. Everything was working fine. I just couldn't hear anything in my own headphones for some reason. Okay. Let's get back to it. So, that failed. I did do a clear, right? Yep. So, undefined pix read. So pix read, that's where I think that's Leptonica. And I think I do need both of them. So let's just not try to split hairs here, and let's do that. Clear, run. Now, if I can at least just have it so, okay, those are the two libraries I install. Everything else just gets pulled in magically. That would be great. Here we go. Okay, JPEG errors, undefined import. Great. So what's it going off of? It's going off of Ming W64. And we have, well, Ming W ld.exe, then it's going to bin, then up a directory, lib, gcc. It's weird how it's bouncing around like this. Then it's going up a bunch of directories, lib, tesseract-a. So it is going to tesseract-a. And it's just saying it can't find it. Interesting that it's saying CPP here. Does it not need the .h files? Because I nuked them, they're gone. And then let me confirm here, libtesseract, a bunch of those. Scrubbing through libleptonica. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I need both Leptonica and Tesseract at a minimum. I guess I don't have, I thought there would have been something like a dot lib. All right, this is fine. So there's the DLL lib.a. So it is going off of the .a file. That's what it seems like it's doing. And that's all fine for what happens I wish it would do that autocomplete. Maybe I can turn that off in settings somewhere. So if I comment out everything, now all it needs is this to work. So if I run the build now, because I'm not actually calling anything, therefore none of the errors should really occur when it tries to compile, because we're just doing a simple import. And that worked. And yeah, actually I forgot. Yeah, I need both Leptonica for the headers, according to the code example. Who knows if I'm actually calling it or not. And Tesseract. So for the moment I need both of those available. Okay, fine. So that built correctly. But then back over in Godot, let's go with the simulator. That'll clear out. The simulator runs just fine. Now it says it can't find OCR. I think that's a bug in the Godot engine, if I remember correctly. So if I close this and just relaunch Godot, it's happy about everything. Now if I try to run it, again, it's still going to run touching works. So everything worked. What does that tell us? That tells me what does that tell me? How is this not erroring? I seem to recall this having a problem before, where it would yell at me because it couldn't find the .h file. But right now it's not having a problem. Is that because it's already baked? So if we look inside gen here maybe, or no, well, we have OCR.os, but that's doc data. I don't think any of this is going to matter. I mean, we do have, that's a DLL that we're building. And that's a .a file. Okay. What are the differences between these? Why are there 4 of them? Is that a symbolic link or something? So this is where they get built to. So is that where I need to put these things? All right, let me take a moment, think about this. So can open dynamic library. So this is the error that I will get in Godot if I get things back to building properly. Specified module cannot be found. Tends to happen with DLLs built with MingW. I know it's building with tends to fix the issue. Check for the library dependencies and dependencies of dependencies. Use tools like dependencies to check it. All non-system libs should be in the same folder as the GD extension library. Windows returns the same error, regardless of which file it was not able to load. Right, which is, I'd already thought that was the path I needed to go down, but I was really hoping to see an error somewhere that made that a little bit more obvious so that I could do a bit more test-driven development with this, like actually confirm what's working and not working. Why is that weird? Okay. Fixing my headphones. So this is the path I need to go now, but where exactly is that? Which folder is that going to have to be in? And since I'm not getting a clear error, nothing's going to tell me exactly where that should go. All right, so I already know this is the path forward, but where do we put it? So if I go back to the docs here, which example is this? This is That's the GD extension example. Is this going to tell me anything interesting? So, creating our plugin. That's the source code for the extension we're building, but it doesn't get built to there. And then that's all code that I've already kind of written, different versions of it. This is all fine. Compiling as construct. So we tell it everything. So when we build, it builds the DLL. And then installing the file, bin windows OCR template debug.dll. Well, this is like template debug. Is that what the name should be? Or anyway, whatever. As bin windows Anyway, that's where it puts it. Puts it in bin windows. So bin windows is probably where I need to put everything, because if we build differently per platform, everything probably needs to be in that bin windows directory. That's probably the right answer here. The thing is, I really, really wish I got an error where I only had to test one library instead of testing them all. Using the GD extension module. Right, this tells you where they're all pathed. Libraries, dependencies. The libraries section is the important bit. It tells Godot the location of the dynamic library. Finally, the dependencies section allows you to name additional dynamic libraries that should be included as well. This is important when your GD extension plugin implements someone else's library and requires you to supply a third-party dynamic library with your project. Here's another overview to check the correct file structure. Demo bin. Okay. I mean, that's where the DLL gets built to. So this is important. But again, let's confirm. So does that mean I can add it under dependencies? Or... So one thing I could do here. No, darn, wrong button. There we go. I'm just trying to get to GitHub. So I am looking for path is star.gd extension. Path is it equals star.gd extension. I think it's path colon. There we go. Interesting. Let's get rid of the quotes. There we are. Yep, .gd extension. Now I am going to search for dependencies every single one of these files is going to have it. Oh, interesting. But what I really want to see is something like this. So what did other people do? So for Windows x86-64, you're sending me over to here. Gotcha. What does someone else do? Rust bindings, that's interesting. This one looks like this could be even more interesting. So this is the file structure that seems to be the right path forward. Anybody else doing anything interesting or different? Here, this person's just providing a list. Yeah, it seems like you could probably just provide a list. If you provide a dictionary, it probably just breaks it down to a list. But the dictionary probably lets you do something more interesting with key value pair naming. Which, by the by, this is not a good way of using dictionaries. I'm sure it's perfectly valid, but it's almost like a list of tuples, whereas a dictionary, a proper dictionary, you'd want to be able to do key lookups. But again, this is not obviously like writing code in an application, but I always dislike things like this because it kind of sends the message to some engineers that like, hey, a dictionary, your key can be unique, but really you want your keys to be generic so you can do generic lookups into dictionaries. So then this is not really going off on a side rant there. It's a valid dictionary. It's not a useful one in terms of normal coding. Okay, so most of these are done that way. I'm sure if I dig enough, I'd find somebody doing something different in a more interesting way. But I think I'll probably just then... Oh, okay, here we go. Well, that's the name, colon, probably the descriptive name for it. Here, what are you doing? Let's take a look. Yeah, I think that might be just some more boilerplate. All right, that's fine. I don't need to see anymore. Pull these out. Let's get these out of the way. So back over here in the bin directory, let's get our GD extension out. Dependencies. What's interesting is, I guess the vanilla version of this didn't really have it. .2, 8 months ago. These are all pretty recent. Wasn't really looking for more recent. Yeah, so I don't remember when I put this together, I don't remember having a dependencies section. But this is saying res bin libgodot cpp iOS debug iOS release. Huh. I wonder if I need libgodot cpp. Because that's here though. That's at this level. That's not in bin. And did anyone else do that? Did not. So maybe that's implied. Maybe it's not a problem. Anyway, I think I'm only caring about Windows x86 for the moment. When I do a final actual build later, I'm gonna need probably Android. There we go. That's how it should be. And these all use res. I'm not doing that. So I followed you know what? Where did I get this from? So this is saying from /Windows. I think I copied this from like the GD example repo. And then I did a search and replace to rename per the description there. Okay, either way, I believe, actually, yeah, I am doing Windows x86 64. So for now, for testing on local, this is what I do care about. Let's give a shot with this res. And we're gonna go in bin. And how do they do it? Add-ons. I don't love that, so I'm just gonna do, I mean, I could create a whole folder structure for this. I'll just call it dependencies. And then .dll. Let's do that. Can't do the vim commands. Okay. So I need a bunch of those. Which if I come back here, let's bring back these asserts. And can we kick off a build? Let's clear it. Let's run it. So now I'm gonna have to like copy all those over. Where did I do that lookup from before? So those are the dependencies for, and I can see the dependencies here as well. All right, I can just put that in view, drag this over. I can reference it separately. So I can kind of do this in a way where I'm just grabbing the names of things. So, Leptonica, I know that's going to be libleptonica in that regard. Now I know this one's also going to be, oh, that's Leptonica, but I need to do, darn, let me page up. Oh, darn it. Okay. Let's try and do paging up. Which one is it? Well, let's do lib. There we go. libtesseract. So libtesseract depends on, is leptonica here? Pipe grep lep. Lib leptonica 6. So it is there. Beautiful. Just couldn't see it because it was too, not being crazy, right? I mean, I'm crazy, but let me just confirm. Yeah, it's there. Okay. This is going to be annoying. So I guess I don't have any AI tools installed here. I'll have to do that at some point on my other machine where I do a lot of my coding. I could have this all filled out in a hot second, but I don't have that right now. Darn. Like, keep forgetting. I don't need to actually copy this. Just by highlighting it, it's going to copy it. So now I can come here, paste. There. Perfect. Leptonica, tesseract, tiff. So now I can actually, let's just do that. Let's batch this out. Tiff. And then we have JPEG, PNG, GIF. Yep, it's GIF, not GIF. WebP. Just check on things real quick. Yeah, that's fine. So we have WebP. I'm just going to do a couple of these and then I'll try to batch them out as much as I can. Sharp YUV. And again, I don't really know that this is going to work. The problem is, though, it's going to be all or nothing. Because either I just have to get all these DLLs in one place. I'm so tempted to write a Python script to do this for me and to do all the copying. But to be honest, I mean, that could be fun to do on stream. But to be honest, it would take me an hour given my dev setup on this machine with Python to like write a script that basically what I would do, here's how I would write that script. We already know this command can get us what we need. So if we look at some of this code down here at the bottom, it's already a bit of Python code. So I can do a subprocess run to call LDD on the path, get its outputs, parse them. Really, we want to split into two things. We want the name, and then we want the path to it. And we want to strip off this. Once you have both of those things, then, actually, you know, I did try making this recursive to find all the sub-dependencies, but I think just calling libtesseract gave us everything we needed. I think all the libraries that I care about are right here. So this didn't have to be... What if we built this into our build system? You know what? Let's do it. I can't resist. I can't resist. So here's what I'm going to do. And my hope was to like use this to replace all this garbage that I had done by hand. And we have depths as a list. Yeah, the only issue is going to be these ones like the .a. If I can get most of them over, that'd be a big help. But this would be to like just, then I could just write this to auto copy them over. So you know, I can't this, I don't want to do this. But here's what I would do. So you call this function, get all the dependencies for libleptonica, it would then get the name and the path. And then as part of its step while looping over these is it would go to this path for each of them and copy them into that directory, and then take the name and add the name to the deps list and then include that. And so then that way during the build process, if like the requirements for Leptonica ever change, if something got added, or heck, even if something got removed, it would just automatically handle it. The only issue is there's probably some libraries here that are system level libraries. I guess my concern is I'm afraid I'm gonna have to do this anyway, because when I do this build here with Sconce is potentially taking some of these libraries for granted. So for instance, this lib, Brottledec, whatever that is, I have no idea what it is. It's not on my list. It's not one of the ones that I say is a dependency. So this might be a more system level dependency that Sconce picks up automagically. And so Sconce is fine with it. But will Godot? Godot might have a problem with the fact that it can't find it. It says in the docs there that like system level libraries are fine, but where do you draw that line in the sand? So I'm tempted to build this anyway and pull in literally all these dependencies, because what happens if any of them are missing? Is it just gonna crap out on me? And Godot doesn't tell me which ones are missing. I'm so tempted. The problem is I still need to do this. So I think what I do is I stay the course for the moment and I do the slow, tedious bit. Just for the moment. So let me just get a few more of these and start pulling them over. LZMA. Deflate. Do Z. And I got a couple of them. Okay, so I think we can start from here. This is going to be a pain, but okay. Stop complaining, just do it. TIFF. Copying is always going to be fun. Hey, at least it brought it over. Cool. Here's the JPEG, PNG. Right, I got the right one, right? JPEG, cool. GIF. WebP. I think it was this one. Only one way to find out, you know? Now Z, I think that's zlib. What was that? So Z was for zlib. And when I did the check dependencies for Z, it says it found it, but it didn't give me any more details than that. I wonder if checklib has like a verbose flag or something like that. Because now, yeah, I just don't know which one is it. that I need. And so I'm going to say dependencies, right? So where am I doing this from? What is it? Bin. And I'm saying make their dependencies cd deps. Okay. And then we're going to copy these out. And this will go faster. There we go. Why wouldn't that finish before? 64 lib tesseract. Ow. Bin. Okay, and then we're going to do here. So now I can do liblectonica 6 here, and then I can do go down the line now. TIFF, JPEG, PNG. Good thing no one's watching this incredibly boring stream. I was gonna say, like, I look over and there'll be somebody there. Yeah, I might have one viewer, maybe. Where am I? Let's do GIF. Oh, by the way, let's confirm that this is all going okay. Yeah, they're all getting in there. Just paranoid. WebP. Can't wait till this is done and I can move on to the fun part of working on this project. CS. Lib LZMA. And that'll be it. We'll stop there just for the moment with libdeflate. And let's do a quick test. Let's see how bad the situation is. So if I bring this over, clear, build, Assume it's all going to succeed still. Yeah, it's done. I don't even know if I needed a rebuild. I think it just already succeeded, so that was fine. So now, what happens if I run the simulator? Couldn't find OCR. That shouldn't happen. It should find it. How do I ban? It's not what I wanted. Why couldn't I do that from my phone? Okay, anyway, let's get the project back up. And if we run this now, okay, here we go. Is this the same error? Can't open dynamic library. Ah. So this is disappointing. Because this means I need to like literally have everything perfect. And then once everything's perfect, then it'll actually work. What if I go here? Just give me some breathing room. What if I do so we don't change the output, and if I got rid of Leptonica, everything's happy. Let's check to see that it builds again. Let's see if we can do this in a little bit more of a confirming everything, like we're on the right track type thing. Let's confirm that builds. Done. And actually, like these depths are there, so this is for the building. I can tell it that these dependencies are here. It should still be fine. So in theory, we don't even need to care about Leptonica anymore because we're not importing, we're not running it. So is it now going to be happier? Still having a problem. Because it would be nice that if it was literally, you know, the things we're importing are all the things we need right now. It's weird that it says it can't find it in the current scope, because it definitely did before. Yeah, same error. So it's not loading the library. Now, if I comment out the rest of this, and then we rebuild, everything's going to cache. It shouldn't care that these are here. That's what I need to confirm right now. And I've kind of confirmed. It's so funny that it's still giving that error. But there was no library error. So I probably can just ignore that and I don't need to reload Godot. This is part of the other reason to do this kind of thing, is it tells you when do you actually need to reload something and when are you fine, you know? And this is going to save me time with the debugging. So now, yeah, it's going to load just fine. Drag that out to where it needs to be. Perfect. Yeah, now it's finding it no problem. So let's take this step by step. If we just include Tesseract and build that, and I know that's going to pass, is it going to complain about the loading? No complaint here. Let's get the simulator up. Everything ran fine. Very nice. What about including Leptonica? Build again. Now if we run, it's probably going to error. Well, actually maybe not. No, yeah, that's still fine, of course. But if I come back over here now, let's comment this out. Let's get rid of Leptonica. Bring in the API. Now let's run our build. And I got a few tricks up my sleeve of what I can think about. So now if I run it, we should get an error now. Yeah. Couldn't find it in the current scope, but it didn't give me an error. Annoying. Let's kill that. Let's open this again. This is going to be really annoying if I'm not getting consistent errors. I mean, it's bad enough I'm not getting good errors, but, you know, I should be getting consistent errors at least, right? Yeah, of course not. Why would it give me this error when I'm looking for it? Can't open the library. So we're back to the can't open library error. Fine. So here's what I can try to do now. Let's comment out a bunch of these. And now let me build. So what is it going to tell me I need in order to call this? What is it going to say that I have to have available? For dep and deps. Oh, well, fine. Deps equals an empty list, and then we're going to, just so I don't accidentally forget it. That's probably smarter anyway. Scons, after all, is just a Python library. Cool. Now it's going to complain about those. So apparently I did need these. Okay, now I'm going to end up down this rabbit hole, and I don't want to be in this rabbit hole. So what if dnb.append libs, don't do that to me. Let's comment that out. Oh, didn't close it. If we just install Tesseract, what does it say we actually need? So it is saying we need the Pix stuff. Yeah, let me clear. Let me get that again, and then I can go to the top and confirm what I actually need or don't need. Pix right. Curl. So that would lead me to believe I need those ones. If I run those, zip. Darn. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm not in a place where I'm going to save much because I basically need everything. Fine. So much for taking this through. And all this came down to just trying to instantiate the API. And Pix, that's something from Tesseract. Fine. I thought I could save some energy, but I guess not. Okay, so we're back to here. I guess on the bright side, I got all the way down to deflate. But what is Z? Which library is that? So I just told to bring in Z for zlib. But that's going to be lib, well, there's libbz, which I need also. Liblz. Okay, so I kind of need all these, pretty much anyway. Zlib. Okay, so it's going to be zlib1. That's fine. Let's put the comma there. Another comma. And then let's get rid of the lib here. I wasted a bunch of time. Could have been done by now. So in terms of where we are, it's going to be zlib. There we are. And then lurk. Huh. Did we not have... Oh, remind me again, what's lurk? Lurk was for... that was something that TIFF needed. Lurk with a capital L? Seriously? Fine. LERC. Do JB. Okay, so that's going to be JBig. Right. Let me put a break here so that I know what I'm missing, because I'm gonna have to copy all these over. Comp. Comp -1. Always feels like there's gotta be a simpler way to do all this. Curl. Curl -4. Archive 13. Archive 13. Just go with open. This one I'm going to copy. BZ. What is that? BZ2-1. LZ. Liblz4. Okay. And then LZMA. LZMA -5. B2. So close. So close. Come on. Please have this work. Lib B2-1. Okay, expat. Okay, so we have expat-1. ICO. going to be iconv -2 crypto. No, let's just do crypt, because that's going to get us a couple of them that we need. So there's bcrypt, which is not what I need. We do have crypto -3-x64, and then what is it? Crypt 32. Damn it. Again, we might end up needing all of these for all I know. So those are what they are. Bcrypt primitives, crypt 3, fine. Let's do WS. Nothing for WS. Sock. Nothing for sock. Let's just do it all. Crypt base. Well, so again, a lot of these should be standard. So if I pull this up here, come on, what are we doing? So we're going to copy what is going to be lib zlib is Ming W64. Oh, just zlib. Oh, I botched that. So that's going to be just zlib. Let's save. Copy that over, and then what's next? Lib arc. libjb. libcomp. libcurl. Curl 4, right? Yeah, I'm going to ignore this and go off of here. Because if there's any naming differences, I need to know that now. Archive 13. Open JP 2 dash, there we go. BZ2 dash 1. Then we got LZ, LZ4, and then LZ MA dash 5, and then we've got B2 lib B2 expat and then crypt. Perfect. All these libraries are important. Now, the question is it going to be nice to me and accept the fact that a lot of these libraries might be system ones and it'll just take them and know that they're there? Or is it going to fail hard and not tell me why, and then I'm going to be in a very annoying spot of not knowing what to do and having to go figure it out from there? Let's give this a shot. Still fail. Can't open. Could not be found. Can't open that dynamic library. Let's kill it and open it again. While I'm at this, let me check something here. Shrink that down, bring this over. Let's see how that aligns. Okay. And it's still not liking it. Can't open dynamic library. Can't open GD extension dynamic library. x86-64. By the way, which one is that? That is the... So he does, does have here debug, and then without the debug. Yeah. So that's fine. I'll keep this up in case I want to look at it, but all non-system libs should be in the same folder. So I do know that I skipped a couple, right? So WSOC32. Which one is that? Sorry, Pacman-SS, right? WSOC32. Tesseract. Yeah. So that's how it finds libraries to install. Let's get that back. Now, here, I'll leave this up here while I go investigate down here. So that is Pacman-SS SOC And what's it gonna find for sock? What if there's a flag where I can tell it, like, hey, only return things that I already have installed? So WSOC32 is probably OpenSSL. Yeah, and that is the open source toolkit for secure socket layer. Ming, okay. So I guess it's like, I don't know which ones are the ones I need, but libSSL. So I guess I can make some assumptions here, right? Let's go find the ones I'm missing. I'll leave out the lib. And I know I'm missing a bunch, but it's not gonna be that many. So I kind of work backward. You know, this system one I probably don't need. So any of these C Windows system, these ones I probably don't need. Sharp, Lurk, JB, Deflate, WebP. There's WebP Mux, which I probably don't need, but we'll keep an open mind. Well, instead of keeping an open mind, let's just go with the assumption that anything that's not C Windows is going to be what I need. So Sharp I already got. Lurk, Big, Deflate, WebP. So WebP Mux, I'm going to need this. Let's assume I need it. And then PNG 16, yep, got all that. TIFF, JPEG, GIF. And then these lib on unistring 5. I already have, why is there 2 of them? Whatever. Intel, I don't know what this is. Since I don't know what it is, let's bring it over. Common. Here's the SSL. SSH. Did I already have? I don't think I have SSH. And then we got PSL. This isn't going to take that long, hopefully. And then this one. Most of these I should have at this point. Didn't realize there's going to be this many. So we're at the zlib, right? Which zlib I know I have. It's like all the way up there. Yep, okay, cool. ZSTD. Out of paranoia. Yeah, okay, fine. These are some C Windows ones. LZ4, another system one. LZMA, system. Expat, system. Conv. Crypto 3. Crypto 3 I already had. BZ, B2. LibBZ and libB2. Brotlib. I think this was where I was faltering and saying like, hey, I didn't know what to do with these. Okay, let's bring this over. And then this is another one that we have two of for reasons. Yep, they're identical. Okay. And then Windows, Gomp, I got Windows, Leptonica, all Windows level 1s, curl archive, libwinp. I don't remember seeing that. And then there's a standard one. System, all system, and yeah, the rest are all system, right? Great. In theory, that is literally all I need. You can't tell me there's anything else at this point. All right, let's drag that out. And then for these, WebP, got that one. And then Uni. Lib, Intel, figures. I don't know. Was it INTL 8? INTL 8. There we go. I'm losing my mind at this late stage. Brought. It's quite good that I'm not really having anyone paying attention to me right now, because this is the most boring side of the work I'm doing. Things are going to get super exciting as soon as I can get this darn thing actually able to call. Once I can call, like, things will be... Once I can call Tesseract from Godot, the doors open. SSH2. Almost there. And, there's always a chance this is not going to work. And if it doesn't work, it's possible I just need to move these files to a different folder or something like that. And then that's a lot easier problem to solve. So hopefully this is just the hard part. ngh TTP 2.14, pull that over. IDN. Okay, almost getting there. Now I'm almost wishing I had written that script. Would have been made for a much more interesting stream if I was writing that code. Okay. GCC_S. And then WinP thread one more, here we go. And then this is stdc++. Boom. All right. I don't need to, but I'm gonna build one more time. I don't need to, but I'm gonna kill Godot. That finished. to launch Godot. Do I have to sacrifice a goat to get this to work? I was really hoping today would be the stream where this works. Still throwing that error, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Does it? Yeah, it's still failing. Okay, well. Can I clear this out? Clear output. Right. If I run that, that works. It's still getting that error, but it shouldn't. If I open Godot, or is it because it doesn't matter whether I call it or not? Should we be getting that error? We do. So if I just run this, we still get that error. So it is that it just can't bring it in, is the issue. Even though I have all these dependencies there. Now, I believe... Now, you know, I shouldn't need this. Like, I thought I needed the .h files somewhere for this to work. But it's possible that just by telling it where to find Tesseract in the sconstruct file for scons, that meets that need, and this is all fine. So now I got to do some reading, is I think what I have to do, and see if I can figure out how else to figure this out. So this was saying, yeah, you need these dependencies. The file contains a configuration section that controls the library section. Finally, we have dependencies. You know, the next step would be to bring in like a simple library, a single file library, and just confirm that everything's in the right place where it needs to be. I didn't want to have to do that, but that'll tell me like which folder, which paths for things. I mean, this is saying this is in Leptonica, which I know doesn't exist because I moved it. What if that's fine. Let's go up a couple directories. CD source. Let's do copy-r squiggle /dev Tesseract lib backup. If I just place that here. So I bring those back in. Yes, the DLLs are there. No, I shouldn't need the DLLs there. It should just be needing. But this is the thing. This shouldn't be needed by scons. Scons might not actually care about it, but Godot might. All the same, let me rebuild. And it might just be for the .h files. So I might just have to have the .h files here and then the DLLs in bin. All right, that rebuilt successfully. Gonna clear this out. Let's run. Whoa. Oh. Ah, almost had it. But then, like, why would it? I thought it wasn't supposed to run. It wasn't doing that before, right? Like, if I comment this out and I rebuild. Anyway, while that's running, what was this all about? This is a C++ example, right? So I did all these things, compiling the plugin, right. If I clear that out and I run this, let's shrink this down a moment. That all works. Debugging process stopped with no error. So for some reason, the simple act of calling the code throws the error. I'll rebuild that. I don't think it's gonna, I mean, that's not gonna change anything, so. Adding properties, some other goodies, so this is actually useful. Signals, etc. Oh, really? That is... I wish I had seen this sooner. Okay. Okay, so how do I connect blah blah blah? Compiler flags. All right, so there's actually some good discussion here. We have to go through all this just to see if there's anything that I care about. this is good to know. Can't open dynamic library. Fix. But see this? This is closed. And list them in the open. But see, I don't get this. So I guess maybe it does list it. It just doesn't list like the P, like what's the error? Like what's it missing? What are the subdependencies that aren't there? Well, I'll leave this up as a reference because this might be helpful. Now, there was another custom modules in C++. So I think this might have had some important information. So when you have a module, register types.c. Next, we need to create an SC sub file. So the build system compiles this module. I'm not doing a module, doing a GD extension. But it's saying that we need to add those source files in that path like that. And then there's the CPP path. This is the absolute path. If you want to add custom compiler flags, and then finally config.py, you can then zip and share the module with everyone. Compiling a module externally. Let's see here. Documentation. Tests. I don't really want any of this. Summing up. All right. Binding to external libraries. This is what I was looking for that I had found before. All right. Now, what if the festival example, speech to text library. Again, this is a module. I'm doing a GD extension, but this should be close enough. So we have the .cpp.h register types. These files must be in the top level folder of your module next to your sc sub and config.py files for the module to be registered properly. Register types.h needs its thing. Next, you'll need to create an sc sub file. So I'm gonna have to go look that up. Like, what is an sc sub file? And how is it different from an S construct? You'll need to install the external library on your machine to get the .a library file. See, I was grabbing .dlls. So this is where, again, I thought, see the library's official documentation for specific instructions on how to do this for your operating system. We've included the installation commands for Linux below. So this is just installing it and then going and getting the .a files. The external library will also need to be installed inside your module to make the source files accessible to the compiler, while also keeping the module code self-contained. The Festival and Speech Tools libraries can be installed from the module's TTS directory via Git using the following command. I don't love that. I don't want to have to bring in all that extra code. Like, what reason? And again, is this just because it's a module and it needs to be like built in? But I would think for this aspect of things, it should be the same whether we're talking about a GD extension or not. Let's go look at this example, shall we? Binding, yeah, okay, this is the binding. Let's bring it here. I don't know why that put it all the way at the end. I didn't want it to. So this has probably the lib directory, bunch of stuff in here. I really don't want to clone all this into my project. Source include. See, these all have .h's, but there's no .h.in, so there's no like .h that you have to build yourself, which is what I had to do for Tesseract to get the files that I needed. And this doesn't say anything about its install. Here we go. Yeah, snore. So it's saying clone them in. If you don't want the external repository source files committed to your repository, you can link them instead, yeah, as a submodule. But please note that Git submodules are not used in the Godot repository. If you are developing a module, right, I'm not doing that. To add include directories for the compiler to look at, you can append it to the environment paths. And that's the CPP paths for both speech tools and festival. So it's saying I need to go pull in all of that crap. If you want to add custom compiler flags, festival speech tool doesn't show you anything in those folders, but that's like all their code. Libpath, bunch of .a files. Well, okay, that's where we have the .a files for those libraries. Using the module. So this is going to be the next thing I want to search. SC sub versus S construct. What is that? No, the lower level files can be called anything as you specify the path and file name. S conscript is evaluated in its own scope. That's not what I asked for. What is an SC sub file? How to make an S conscript in scons aware of a header location. Interesting that well, it's the summator example. So I thought I did all this. Add Additional appeasement edit. Source modules. Okay. Hmm. Trouble linking third-party libraries. My SC subfile currently looks like this. Pretty sure you need to add it to the main environment rather than the component environment. Renaming my .lib and DLL files to match the one Godot was expecting. I don't know about that. It seems like SC sub is a Godot specific thing. Let's see here. Yeah, I'd already looked at that. This is all Tesseract stuff. And then this is the festival example. Alright, well, I'm a little bit at a loss as to what to do now. I'm gonna have to stew on this, and then I think I do know what I need to do. I'm gonna go find like a super simple DLL that I can pull in, or build build a simple DLL, and then again, yeah, just figure out like where do I put it and where do I import it in order for it to do the thing that I need to do. And then that way if I can confirm how that works, yeah, then I can extrapolate that out to the rest of this. Anyway, I think I'll stop here.